Can we talk a little bit about this practice of turning your nest boxes on the side when the kits start to venture out of the nest box as a way of keeping them kind of still in the nest and consolidated, or giving them access back to it? I gotta say, a lot of people recommend doing this, and I am just not a fan. So let's start here. What am I even talking about? For those of you who may or may not know, what we're talking about is when the kits are, say, like 10 to 14 days old, eyes are usually still closed or just starting to open, but they're starting to venture out of the nest box, but they're also not really big enough to get back into them. And like I said, a lot of times the eyes are still closed. So, you know, they still need to kind of sense their way around to find their siblings, find the nest. So that's another factor. It's not like they can see the nest box and know where to jump into it. So a lot of people say this is when they turn the nest box on the side. Now, over 5 years, I've tried this like one other time, and I was like, I don't get it. It doesn't work that well. There's got to be a better way. So I hardly ever do this. Now with these sets, these 4 litters that I've got in here, I did decide to give it a try this time because they were out of the box a little bit earlier than I typically see, probably more towards 10 days. And the weather's really warm. So I also think that that's why they're kind of venturing out a little earlier, because they're not hunkering down and snuggling down in the back of the box. So, you know, we had some precocious ones that were starting to come out. And then like as a litter, they were coming out as a whole litter, not just like that one random precocious kit that got out early. So I decided to give it a try, and I've left them in here to give you guys a look and chat about this. But I gotta say, as soon as this video's done, like, I'm done with this too. So let's maybe take a look and talk about a few options. So you can see Peony here. This is one reason people like it, because they still have the nest box for mom to escape, and the kits can still get in there. And theoretically, people think this keeps the nesting material as a nest, but you can see here, I never see that happening. The nesting material gets scattered around. It just becomes more of a mess in the cage, and I don't see the benefit to it. One of the advantages I think that people try to capture is that you still have the fur in there to keep them a little warmer if it is cold, to give them something to snuggle down. But it ends up spread out so thinly that there's nothing that they can burrow into anyway. And, you know, by this time, you're starting to get, they've been urinating, they've been defecating, and you're starting to get some mess anyway. So this is a time when I'll frequently just change out the nesting material for regular shavings and hay. And they have fur, so with, you know, some good hay or shavings or something to get down into, they're able to still stay warm. So I don't know that you're gaining much there, except a big mess all over the cage. Now this we can see really well in Roses is another reason why I don't like this. Hi, honey. So her kits did actually go in the back there. That's another thing. I don't see a lot of the kits always really getting into that nest, but these have the loose bottom boards so that they can be taken out, cleaned, changed and replaced as needed. And it's just this weird, it doesn't stay put. I mean, maybe people are taking those out when they do this, but I just feel like that exposes them more to the lip, which is a galvanized metal lip in there. You can see it in the back. That goes all the way around. Just more opportunity, more something for them to get hurt on. So there's that factor. Now, if you had solid nest boxes, probably not much of an option, or not much of a problem in that way. So I had done this in Lily's cage, and yesterday this was just so ridiculous, and they were not even in that nest box at all, that I completely took it out and just opted to give them a good stack of hay in the corner there. A couple minutes ago they were all here, but they've been bopping around and they're kind of grouping up over there. Kenzie, we've got some eyes open. Hi, cutie. So, you know, that's that in hers. Still a little messy in the cage, but better and easy to just change out a handful of hay every morning if it's messy. Here are dandelions, and dandelions haven't been out as much as the others. We do have some eyes opening in there too. There's been like one when I've come out. There's been like one. Now all those champagnes were really like, they were all out. I came out one morning and like all the litters were out and about. No eyes open, but out and about. So with dandelions, I had changed out the nesting material this weekend when I cleaned here in the rabbitry. Just gave them some fresh shavings and some hay in there. I don't know if she ate out the hay. There was some hay in there. So this is what I actually usually do. This is my other option, is usually I will just bundle up a good solid stack of hay in front of the nest box. And that does two things. It gives them kind of a step up over that lip for when they're still too small to get up there. And it also gives them something to burrow into if they can't manage to make their way back into the nest. So this is my preferred method. And then, you know, like I said, once we're kind of over this stage, especially if I'm not seeing them use the box a lot, then I just get rid of the box and do the hay in the corner. Some of this is kind of a seasonal reaction because, you know, in the winter, I find that they tend to stay in and burrow for a lot longer. You know, we're in the 70s. Some of our days are creeping towards 80. I mean, it's still early May, but that's kind of the weather we're having, and these guys are not cold at all. So they're just not feeling like they have to hunker down and burrow down in that nest. So I can get rid of it earlier. You know, the nest boxes are nice because they do keep them consolidated, but that even still is only to a point. If the kits are going to get out and about and roam around, they're going to get out and about and roam around. So I don't know if any of you actually do this, you know, turning it on the side. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say that, and I'm, you know, again, your rabbitry, your rules, do it your way. I just don't really get how this is good and functional for most people. So that's that. Just kind of wanted to give you a look at these litters, to talk about this as an option, and also talk about whether or not it's a very functional option, and reach out and see if any of you guys had any better ideas. So this is Kits at 2 weeks, starting to come out of the nest box or completely out of the nest box. I'm going to let you guys go because I do have some cleaning up to do in here. I'm going to pull all these nest boxes out. Well, honestly, I'm going to let Dandelion's litter have her keep theirs because they are still using it. But these champagne litters aren't using them, and they're just, I don't know, it's just not functioning well. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those, do a few other things, and then go on about my day. So thanks for being here. Come back another day. Don't forget to hop on over to meetrabbits.org. Find all sorts of other topics, advice, articles, recipes, all sorts of stuff over there. And we will see you on another day.